Hello, hello, for another episode here today on the Lead with Integrity podcast. Today, with me, myself, and I, with Lena, the host of the show, for a solo episode again, talking about the topic of the show, integrity. And I want to start today with a question, asking you if you have ever had a situation where you agreed to something just because you felt like this allows you to get out of the situation. You agreed to something, or maybe even silenced someone just so that you can get out of the situation. Or maybe the feeling of defending yourself and closing a topic shortly down just because it made you feel uncomfortable, or you closed a topic because you felt like this is what is expected and what makes you feel safe. If you said yes to any of those questions, know that you are not alone in this, because let's be honest, sometimes it's so much harder to stand in our integrity than just agreeing to what is expected from us. And to just give a little recap again on what integrity is for me, and you can check in if that maybe is the same for you as well. But for me, essentially, integrity means matching your actions with what you say you do, matching your actions with your values, living in alignment, and basically doing what is right rather than doing what is fast, easy, or expected. And yeah, that is always so much easier said than done, right? And today I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into the situations that I came across in my own journey, where I realized, wow, those are situations where it was really hard to stand in my integrity and to lead my life from this place of integrity. And while I go through these scenarios, I'm going to give you also some examples from like the receiver end, but also from the one who is like the one acting out of her alignment. And yeah, maybe some of the scenarios resonate with you. Maybe you can feel really into it or have similar situations in your own life. And why we go through that is basically just so that we can become self-aware of it and turn the ship around, right? So that it's, yeah, see it as an invitation for you to reflect on yourself. And when you realize it and notice, oh, wow, this was really like a situation that I can really see in my own life as well, to use that as an invitation to shift it for yourself and maybe start a conversation in your own environment as well about it. Because we're all in this together. We're all learning this, myself as well. And the more support we can get from outside and from ourselves inside, the easier it will get, right? So let me start with the first situation that I came across when asking myself, why is it so difficult for us to stand in our integrity? And I think one crucial part is the fear of conflict or the fear of rejection, right? And examples where I really felt that myself is when I was over agreeing to things or like pleasing others just so that I'm part of the group, or just so that I'm, yeah, not ending up in a conflict, which for me seemed like, yeah, the harmony is not kept anymore and I'm destroying the harmony. So I much rather agreed to everything and anything instead of like expressing my own opinion and standing my ground and expressing my truth, having a conversation about it. So that looked like saying yes to all the parties and like having it the next day no energy for the projects that I actually wanted to place my attention on, or saying yes to all the coffee dates, or saying yes to even work projects that had like maybe a good pay slip at the end, but were not really aligning with my values or were not aligning with my body language either. I realized literally in that intake call that my whole body was tensing. So it was not a match at all, but I said yes to it anyways. And I think in those cases, it's really difficult to stand in our integrity. But I feel it means for us to give ourselves a reminder in those situations. Integrity doesn't mean to like avoid the conflict or like rejection. It means really to understand your truth, understand what you stand for, your values, and doing it, standing in that truth, no matter how hard that is and how uncomfortable that is sometimes. And yes, that is uncomfortable sometimes. I also have shared it on my social medias for sure, but probably didn't share it in the first episode here, that I have the tendency to blush when I get uncomfortable and when I get the chance to be really vulnerable. I I blush, and therefore I am scared of like people making fun of me. I'm scared of people ridiculing about me, and to avoid these situations, I'm closing down. I'm trying to avoid situations where I get the chance to be vulnerable, which was in the past very extreme for a time. Like in my bachelor's, I was so afraid of doing something wrong, of like being so aware of my appearance, that this was really blocking me to build genuine and deep relationships, right? One of my values and something that I really value as a person. So I got to learn with how to deal with it, and I did like that inner work basically to understand, oh, where is this fear also coming from? To meet myself at those desires so that I can also enter these situations, open up, and like show myself and my full self, and being okay with it when I get rejected or end up in a conflict, because that eventually helps us all to get clarity, right? And to preserve our energies. Which directly brings me to like the second scenario that I have encountered, that we struggle to stand in our integrity, lacking boundaries. Because if we don't have our boundaries set up, I feel we're overcommitting, we're over agreeing, right? Really, really tied also to the previous situation that I grasped upon. It's like saying yes to everyone and anyone means we're letting at least one person down. And I think for that one, I have like an example on the receiver end. When I was working in corporate in HR and had a manager who was there only for 2 days in a week and was leading a team of, I think, around 10 people we were, having different generations, different age groups, different projects that all needed to work together. But our leader, who was like kind of the synchronicity or responsible for our synchronicity and our teamwork, wasn't really available for us. So yeah, we were disappointed. And at the same time, I know that, of course, he also was in the other 3 days that he worked from home, which was like, I think, 3 hours drive away from our office. He wanted to be there for his kids and for his partner, for his wife. So like, of course, we always try to fill all these cups, but yeah, if we lack our boundaries, I think it's really difficult to connect to that inner understanding of what we value and what we want to, which standard we want to live up to, right? Yeah. And then the third one that I just quickly want to mention here for today is that when we're disconnected to our purpose or disconnected to our values, we're easily getting caught up into expectations from someone else or social expectations that we feel like we have to live up to. And quickly what happens is that we're living someone else's idea of our life instead of the idea that we had originally ourselves. And here's what I experienced also in the work with my clients and over the last 30 years of my existence, is that it requires us to regularly check in what our purpose actually is, or what drives us, and like what's important for us. And I realize not a lot of people do that. And we I don't know, we maybe are so driven by our fears and our insecurities, that we just quickly go to that easy road and quickly go to that fast road that maybe someone else already defined as a successful road or a meaningful road, instead of turning the gaze around towards ourselves and looking at what we actually value, and have the courage to stand in that truth again. So because I feel if we don't do that and we get into the loop of just filling the expectations that someone else has for us or about us, it's like kind of the recipe for burnout or for living a life that you're not really satisfied with. And I feel that would be a shame for the life that we get to live here on this planet, right? So those were three situations that I encountered over the course of my career, over the course of my friendships, and like so personal and professional life. And I'm still learning it myself, right? And I'm still learning and checking in with myself regularly to live up to my integrity. And maybe to round this up, what helped me personally to stand in my integrity and to lead my life, business and private life based on that, is being aware of the behaviors that get me off my grid, or like get me off my lane, let's say, or off my foundation. So self-awareness is a big one on this. The boundaries, of course, understanding once I see which behaviors or which situations got me off from the grid or off from my lane, off from my foundation, means, okay, how can I build a safe environment or a system around it, boundaries, where I get to be clear on myself and clear also for others, so that they also don't need to tiptoe or have false expectations that I can't meet, etc. And I think the third thing is really checking in regularly. What do I value? What drives me? And where do I want to build my life upon? That's basically what I wanted to share here with you today. What also came up in like a conversation recently. That's why it was like a perfect impulse for today's episode. But now of course I'm curious, what's your experience with living in integrity or living in alignment? And how do you overcome situations that get you out of your alignment? I would be super curious to hear. If you feel like, share yourself on Instagram, on my Instagram account, Lena Hoyle, or on the Lead with Integrity podcast channel. I would love to hear from you and make it as interactive as a podcast could be. Also, you have the option to comment below this episode. With that being said, know that we are all on this journey together. Integrity and alignment is the practice. And with that being said, I leave you and wish you the most wonderful day, evening, morning, whenever you listen to this. And I'm going to see you next time. Bye-bye.